Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stats podcast, where today we're going over NFL Week 4. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, hit the subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is the Stats and Stacks podcast. A weird week this week. Don't forget, the last few weeks there have been multiple Monday night games. This week there is a game on bright and early 9:30 Eastern. We have our London game here with the Jaguars and the Falcons. We're not going to waste a lot of time. Hop right into it. Not everyone's feeling well again. The usual partner in crime is not able to make it today, partially on my end with just scheduling issues. So we're just going to kind of fly through this week. Thought about skipping a week, but we're dedicated to the craft, baby. Got to make sure that we're always here for the people. Locke came through last week, looking to do the same again. So let's just go ahead and hop through it real fast here. We have, again, that aforementioned early game. We have the Falcons going up against the disappointing Jacksonville this year. Jags are still -3. It is a home game, and it is a true home game because they play in London every year. Over under set at 43.5. It's a weird one, man. Part of me really, really, really wants to take the Falcons here. I think the Falcons are bad. I think they're a very bad team, but I think Jacksonville is equally as bad this year. So, Jacksonville doesn't lose in London. We'll just go ahead and we'll ride with the quote unquote home team here with the Jaguars over under at 43.5. The Falcons run so damn much. They're going to run that clock out. Zay Jones probably not playing. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the under there. In regards to fantasy perspective, of course, you're going to start like Bijan. You're not going to sit Bijan. London and Kyle Pitts are dead to me. We're not playing anyone the pass catchers from Atlanta. Desmond Ridder cannot be trusted. He's probably, everyone talks about how bad Zach Wilson is. I think Desmond Ridder is just as bad. He is atrocious. You cannot start any pass catcher. So I'm not even starting Tyler Algier this matchup. Strictly Bijan on the Falcon side. Jaguar side, you're going to start Calvin Ridley. You're going to start Travis Etienne. And that's about it. If you want to get funky with Christian Kirk, I really don't want to. The Atlanta Falcons have a pretty good pass defense, to be honest with you. So Ridley and Kirk could struggle, to be honest. Etienne's probably the best start. But outside of that, you're not going to sit your studs. And if you have Trevor Lawrence, you're probably going to start him, but I don't see it being a good week for him. So DFS wise, I'm not touching this game at all. The only time you touch this is season long if you have one of the studs. Next game is one where there's going to be some controversy here. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan. The Bills are 2.5-point favorites over the surging, piping hot Miami Dolphins. Over under setting at 53.5. I'm actually going to get controversial. I'm going to take the Bills, but I'm going to take the under in this matchup. Everyone expects it to be a shootout. I don't think so. I truly don't. The way the Dolphins play D, they let you dink and dunk, and they let you get short yardage anywhere from like 5 to 10 yards at a time. They do not let you go deep. Vic Fangio does not let you go deep on him. I know Josh Allen, God, he wants to so badly, but he has done a better job this year just dumping it off to James Cook. James Cook's getting a lot of receptions this year. Because definitely everyone knows Josh wants to go deep. So a lot of slant routes to Diggs, a lot of just dump offs to James Cook. And I think that's what the Dolphins are going to give them. So I love James Cook in this matchup. I absolutely love James Cook here. I think he's going to be the best play here. Stephon Diggs are going to use because he just hyper targets him, and he can run a quick route. He doesn't have to go deep. Gabe Davis is going to struggle. I don't think Gabe going deep across, or I don't think it's going to work here. The Dolphins are very good at stopping that. So and I really don't even want Josh in this matchup, to be honest with you. I just want James Cook and I just want Diggs. Or, you know who else is probably the go-to? Miami Dolphins are one of the worst teams against the tight end. So you want to talk about short routes and something they're bad at? That is Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox all day. Dawson, especially in the red zone, he's probably going to score this game. But in regards to like Yak, I'll probably take Dalton Kincaid. I think this might be his breakout game. So again, I'll take Diggs. I'll take Cook for sure. And this might be the Dalton Kincaid breakout. On the other end, the Bills have are allowing the most explosive rushing plays, the most yards per carry in the NFL. So that does not bode well going up against the craziness of A-Chain and Mostert that we saw last week. I don't want people to think this is going to be an every week thing, but could they do that again? Absolutely. Will Tua be able to throw on the Bills? Not as easily as you would think. However, it's Waddle and Hill. It's the best duo in the league. So basically, both the defenses are going to struggle. What the Dolphins have been doing well at, the Bills have been struggling with. What the Dolphins are able to stop, you can't stop Diggs and Kincaid and Cook. So it should be an offensive shootout, but with a lot of it being running, which is why I'm taking the under. So DFS wise, again, I love Kincaid, I love Diggs, I love Cook. And then obviously you're going to start all your studs on the Dolphins and especially those running backs. And I'm going to bench both quarterbacks. I don't want either part of them. Pick as the Bills. Bet probably the Bills to cover. It is at home. It is in Orchard Park. But honestly, I think I like the under better. Next game, from one of the most exciting games to the worst game of the week. Let's not spend a lot of time. The Denver Broncos going up against the Chicago Bears. Denver is 3.5-point favorites on the road. God, that's disgusting. 46 points. They literally gave up 70 points. They gave up a basically an NFL record, and now they're 3.5-point favorites on the road. That's how bad the Chicago Bears are. And I'm going to side with Vegas. I will go ahead and take Denver here. That half point, I don't like. That does scare me a little, but the Bears are that bad. Like we talked about we talked about Zach Wilson and Desmond Ridder being bad. The next person in that trifecta is Justin Fields. He looks terrible this year. In regards to a fantasy perspective, I like Javonte Williams on the Broncos side. And I do still like Courtland Sutton. I think Jerry Jeudy's still getting more acclimated to the season. I still think that hamstring is lingering a little. So I actually don't hate Sutton. I don't hate Russ, to be honest with you. And a lot of people are on Javonte, and I understand that. I don't hate Javonte here. Bears side, you got to sit Roschon Johnson and Khalil. They're done. Dead to me. I can't start either one of them. They're getting like 7 carries a game each, and it's just terrible. DJ Moore not doing the greatest there, and any other pass catchers isn't even a thought. So I don't want to start any Bear, to be completely honest with you. So the pick is going to be Denver. The bet just should be the under, but I'll just take Denver in general. Next game, we have another pretty gross one. We have the Ravens going up against the Browns. The Browns 3-point favorites at home. Over under set at 40. So Vegas also thinks this game is going to be pretty low scoring and gross. I'll take the Ravens here solely on the fact that Lamar as an underdog, he's like 5-1 or something like that. The Ravens do not look themselves this year. They do not look good, but I think they're overdue for Lamar to have a big game here. Zay Flowers looking good. I know Rashad Bateman is. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if OBJ is going to play. Gus Edwards had a concussion last week. Justice Hill has some problems. Their defense is just getting destroyed in the secondary with injuries again, which is good because that means that with Chubb out and Watson being the focal point, he might actually be able to move the ball and score a little. And if the Browns score, the Ravens are going to score. So I actually don't hate this over 40, to be honest with you. I think it's I don't hate it. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a shootout than people are expecting. I like Mark Andrews here. I like Lamar here. I like Zay Flowers. I'm not starting any of their running backs. The Browns, you can start Jerome Ford. It's perfectly fine. I like Amari. A lot of people said they're on Elijah Moore. This is his week. We'll see. I don't hate Watson here, to be honest with you, but Njoku, I'll never start again. So I like the main pieces on both squads. The pick is going to be the Ravens again. They're have a pretty good record up against the spread, being dogs. So I'll pick the Ravens as dogs and kind of just rock it that way. Next game is another really gross one. There's a lot of gross games this week. This has been the worst weeks stylistically by far. We have the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Tennessee Titans. Over under sitting at 41. Cincinnati 2.5-point road favorites. A lot of road favorites this week. I understand it because the Titans look absolutely terrible, but maybe it's a good thing that our guy Tyler's not on the pod this week because I am going to take the Titans to cover at home. Joe Burrow, man, you know, I don't know. I'm starting to second guess it. I want no part of this game. Is Derrick Henry washed? I don't know. I thought he was washed coming into the season. If he's not, he's got to show up here at home. Like, it's about time. I know he's getting a lot of carries taken away from Spears, but if Derrick Henry can return the form, just ride his coattails, because Tannehill looks terrible. Hopkins is terrible. It's hard to throw on Cincy to begin with. You can run on Cincy a little bit. They're like the fifth worst rush defense or something like that right now this year. So I really don't hate Derrick Henry going up against a bad run defense. But on the flip side, you have the Bengals, where yes, Joe Burrow has looked better week by week, but he's still hurt, man. He's really, really, really hurt. This is not a detriment to the Bengals at all. It's just, and it's not an indictment to the Bengals at all. It's just Burrow's not 100%, so they just have to get it off quick. And for whatever reason, the Rams refuse to rush Joe Burrow, who can't move. I don't know why they did not pressure Burrow. I don't. I have no idea. I'm flabbergasted. I don't think the Titans are going to make that mistake. They don't have a ton of good pass rushers. They only have like one or two that could even make an impact. But I think that's all you need because Burrow can't fucking move. Jamar Chase had his breakout game. I don't think he's going to go back to back 100-yarders. So you can't run on Tennessee, so Joe Mixon's going to be terrible. Stay the hell away from Joe Mixon this game. So you have a team that can't stop the run with a good running back going against a team that can't stop the pass, going against good wide receivers, but a hurt QB, and that's why I'm going to take the home dog here. So the pick is going to be the Titans. Bet's going to be the Titans. You can start Henry. You can start Chase, and that's probably about it. I'm not starting T, and I am not touching Mixon. Next game is a weird one, man. We got the Rams going up against the Colts. Return of Anthony Richardson. Line is a straight pick 'em. Over under sitting at 46. I don't hate the over here, man. Anthony Richardson is electric. I'm going to start him in a lot of leagues and a lot of DFS this week. I think Richardson is always going to be a DFS darling. If you want to get real cheap and contrarian, you can always start like an Alex Pierce or something with him. Michael Pittman's price is not ever too bad this year. That's probably about it. If you want to start Zach Moss, it's got to stop at some point. Again, as a Buffalo fan, I've seen a lot of Zach Moss. I wanted them to draft Zach Moss when they did. I was hyped and I was not impressed all the years he was in Buffalo. He's going crazy with the opportunity he has right now. Is it going to continue? I don't know. It's got to simmer down eventually, but if you want to start with DFS or in season long, have at it. Just ride the wheels until they fall off, baby. In regard to the Rams, one more week until we get Cooper Kupp back, meaning you can start Puka another week. If you want to start Kyron Williams, I know he had struggled last week, but he did you right before that, so you could go right back to Kyron. And Higbee's dealing with some injuries, so I think I'm just going to stick with Puka, stick with Kyron, and probably call it a day, to be honest with you. Next game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New Orleans Saints. Saints are 3.5-point favorites at home. Over-under sitting at 39.5. That's understandable, mainly because Mike Evans cannot shake off this Marshon Lattimore effect for whatever reason. Mike Evans goes absolutely crazy and then cannot do anything against Marshon Lattimore. It is in his head at this point. So there is a league where I am considering benching Mike Evans, even though he's a top 5 receiver this year right now in fantasy. I'm heavily considering sitting it. I until I see him do something against Marshon, it's just his kryptonite, man. I can't understand it. So without Mike Evans, I don't like Baker. I'm not on Chris Godwin this week, and the Saints are kind of tough to run on, and Rachaad White's kind of 50-50 this year anyway. So I really don't want to start any Buck, to be honest with you. On the other side, the Saints, we're going to have the return of Alvin Kamara. Hopefully he goes absolutely nuclear this year or this week. We're going to see. The Bucks run defense hasn't been as good as it notoriously is year by year. So hopefully he has fresh legs and he's able to take advantage. Olave should go crazy. The Bucks secondary is really banged up right now, so I do like Olave a lot. Initially, I came in wanting to bet the Bucks. I think the Bucks were underrated. I said that from the start. However, with these secondary injuries going against Olave and Thomas, and then a fresh Kamara on the road, I think it's just too many hurdles. So the pick is going to be the Saints, and I do love Olave this week. All right, next game. We can spend real quick time on this one. We have the Washington Commanders going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles 9-point favorites. That line's too low. I think they should be 14-point favorites, to be honest with you. Over under setting at 43. I might take the over because the Eagles might do it themselves. Commanders are awful. The Commanders are absolutely terrible. I'm starting none of them. Sam Howell is going to throw a million picks. I love the Philly defense this week. In regards to their offense, you can start Swift. I know they had a split carries between Swift and Gainwell. They both had 14 carries last week. Just Swift did a lot more with it. Ride the hot hand while he's doing it. Give it to Swift. You can start Swift. Devontae, he's gonna bounce back. AJ Brown, he's gonna get his. Dale Goddard, I'm kind of off of this year. But whatever, it is what it is. Definitely the running backs and a sneaky contrarian play. I don't hate Gainwell this week either. For the Commanders, they're gonna have to pass a ton. I don't hate Scary Terry. That's about it. Dotson, him and Howell are not connecting like they should be, and Howell is not good under pressure. We saw it last week against the Bills, and Philly's rush defense is just as good. So it's going to get real ugly. So the pick is going to be the Eagles to cover. That's definitely going to be the bet, and you can start basically all their offensive weapons and their defense a ton in DFS. I'll probably have all Philly in DFS. In regards to the next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Carolina Panthers. This is another gross one. Over under at 46.5. Minnesota 4-point road favorites, and I agree. I do think the Panthers are one of the bottom 3 teams in the league. I have a few bets on them to have the worst overall record this year. So far, so good. And especially because they looked pretty decent with the red rifle there. Luckily, Bryce Young is feeling better and playing. That makes me more confident in the Vikings. So I'm going to pick the Vikings here. I'm going to bet the Vikings here. Obviously, you're going to start Justin Jefferson. Cam Akers is actually going to play this week. So I'm not playing him or Madison. I need to see how that split works. But Cousins is like the number 1 quarterback in fantasy this week. So you're going to start him in DFS if you want. Addison could have another big bomb touchdown. Jefferson's probably going to get 150 yards like he does every single week. Yeah, that's about it. On the Panthers side, I know Thielen looked phenomenal with the red rifle, but Andy's not playing. So if you want to start anyone, I guess the Vikings defense is not good. So if you really want to, you can chase with Thielen. You can try to get contrarian and play DJ Shark if he comes back healthy. Miles Sanders, I really believed in this year. It's a big letdown. It might be my biggest letdown. Earlier, someone tried to compare him to the Mike Davis here in Carolina. That's kind of what we're getting, to be honest with you. So that's very, very concerning. But I might go back to the well one more time, just dependent on ownership. But yeah, you're going to start Jefferson every week and continue to do so. All right. Next game, we have the Steelers going up against the Texans. Pittsburgh, 3-point road favorites. Over under sitting at 42.5. I'll take the home dogs and the Texans. Their offense isn't bad, man. Tank Dell, you can start. I'm not scared of the Steelers defense this year, to be honest with you. If you want to start Tank Dell, you can. If you want to start CJ Stroud, you can. If you want to start Nico Collins, you can. I'm not a fan of the running back room with Devin Singletary and Dameon Pierce, but I do like their receivers and I like their young quarterback. They're kind of fun to watch, to be honest with you. And I really like Tank Dell here. In regards to the Steelers, I don't like their running back room either. I don't like Warren. I don't like Najee. I don't like Kenny. I really don't like the Steeler offense without Deontay Johnson. Losing him on IR is a huge loss to them. I know they had the big play with Calvin Austin. I know the week before that, they had the big play with George Pickens. I don't think that's sustainable. Texans have been playing everyone tough. I actually really like the Texans as dog here. So I don't want to start any Steelers, to be quite frank with you. And the Texans, I like their quarterback and their 2 receivers. So the pick are going to be the Texans, bet going to be the home dogs. All right, then we're going to start our afternoon slate of games. We have the Chargers going up against the Raiders. Chargers 5-point home favorites. Over under set at 49 makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand how the Chargers don't kill the Raiders. And we don't even know if Jimmy G is playing. I know Devontae Adams is basically quarterback proof. You're going to start him in season long. But DFS without Jimmy G, I'm not touching him. I'm not touching anyone, honestly. Maybe Josh Jacobs. I might trust. He's overdue for a game here. So if Jimmy G is out, I'll start Josh Jacobs. In regards, and that's about it. In regards to the Chargers, Keenan Allen, if Austin Eckler said that he can't cut properly, so I don't think he's playing. I think it's going to be Joshua Kelly again. And any week that Austin Eckler is not playing, Keenan Allen loses his fucking mind. So Keenan Allen is going to be a must start this week in DFS. Obviously, Mike Williams. A lot of people are going to pivot to Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer. I just like Keenan. I think Keenan's going to explode here. If you want to start Herbert, you can do that too, because they can't really run without Keenan. So I like Herbert. Without Eckler. I like Herbert. I like Keenan. That's about it. With Jimmy G, I like Devontae Adams. Without him, you can try Josh Jacobs, see if they try to just give him more volume, but that's about it. All right, next game, Patriots Cowboys. We have the Cowboys as 6.5-point favorites at home. Justifiably so. I know last week was a big letdown. I don't foresee that happening again. Over under at 43.5. I'll go ahead and I'll take the Cowboys to cover. I think the Patriots are terrible. I know I'm a little biased with them being in our division, but I really truly do think they're bad. Patriots offensively, absolutely no one. I don't want to start anyone. If you want to save some money with Kendrick Bourne, I guess you can try, but not really against this Cowboys defense, to be honest with you. I think Kendrick is basically their one. Stephon Gilmore, he wants to be on Devontae Parker or Kendrick Bourne. It doesn't matter. He's going to shut them both down. I don't care who the backup corner is for the Cowboys with Trayvon Diggs out, because their offense is terrible. Their line is bad, and Mac Jones is atrocious. So I'm not starting Ramondre Stevenson. Zeke is getting way too much work, and he sucks. Like, I'm starting no one from the Patriots. You're going to start Pollard on the Cowboys, clearly. He's going to continue to go off. I think CeeDee Lamb is overdue, but I don't think this is the week. I really, for some reason, don't hate Jake Ferguson this week. I think it could be a good week for him. That's about it, though. Probably Pollard. If I want to get crazy, I'll dabble with some Ferguson, and that's about it here. All right. Next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals going up against the 49ers. Cardinals 14-point dogs. Over under sitting at 44. Can the Cardinals get the upset again? Back-to-back weeks? The answer is fuck no. They're going to get absolutely dismantled here. Yeah, man. On the 49ers side, start Ayuk, because I don't think Debo's going to play. I think Ayuk's going to perform well. I think Kittle, it's going to be a big game for Kittle here. And then I think CMC is going to go absolutely nuclear. In regards to the Cardinals, no one. James Conner continues to score. He is their offense. If you really, really, really want to try him, you can, but I don't want to trust any Cardinal against the 49er defense, to be honest with you. I'm not starting Marquise Brown. I'm not getting crazy with the tight ends, not doing anything with Michael Wilson or Rondale Moore. I'm not chasing. I think the Cardinals are in trouble. So CMC goes crazy. Ayuk should be fine. Kittle should be fine. Everyone else is a throwaway. So that takes us to probably one of the worst Sunday night games of the year. We have the Chiefs that are going to just absolutely dismantle the Zach Wilson led Jets. Over under sitting at 41.5. Chiefs 8.5-point favorites. This number should also be higher. Give me the Chiefs to cover. They'll kill them, just like we saw with Chicago last year. I know it's in New York. It doesn't fucking matter. You can't start anyone. No Garrett Wilson, no Breece Hall, no Delvin Cook. Start absolutely no one. This offense is terrible with Zach, and the Chiefs defense is real this year. So it's a double-edged sword here. You can't start any Jet. Chiefs side, the Jets defense is very good. So I don't know. Obviously, you start Travis Kelce. But outside of that, I really don't know who it's going to be, because you never know each week. It could be a Sky Moore week. It could be a Valdez Scantling week. If anyone, I think it's more of a Sky Moore out of the two. But I'm just starting Kelce and calling it a day, to be honest with you. All right, and then the last game of the week, we had the Seattle Seahawks as 1-point favorites now, going up against the New York Giants. Does that really say they're favorites now? Yeah, it does. Because I bet them as dogs. So obviously, everyone else is seeing what I'm seeing. Seahawks side, the Giants are just kind of a dumpster fire this year. I'll take the Seahawks, even at 1-point favorites. I'm still picking them and betting them. Over under 47. I like the under. But in regards to fantasy, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start Kenneth Walker. We're going to start. Honestly, you can kind of start Geno. I don't hate a stack here. Why choose one when you can start Lockett and DK? I like them both here. Giants defense is not that great this year. On the Giants side, ooh, good luck. Seahawks defense is not good, but they've been pretty stout against the run. Like they're very good against the run this week. So I know Saquon's talking about practicing and trying to play. He's not. It's a high ankle sprain. Those usually take 3 to 4 weeks. It's only been 2. Saquon is not playing. You're going to get Breida, and you're not going to get anything from Breida unless he scores. He split a lot more than I expected him to with Brightwell last week. I think it's going to be a little bit of the same. And now they're splitting against a tough run defense. If neither one of them score, they're in some serious trouble. So you could pass on the Seahawks a little, but I don't know who Danny Dimes is passing to. I guess you could start Waller here. It's probably a pretty decent play, to be honest with you. Now that I'm looking at it, Waller's the only one I'm starting from the Giants, and that's this gross week 4. It is not fun whatsoever. You have like 2 really, really, really good matchups, and all the rest are terrible. So as long as you win money in DFS, you're good. That's the only way to enjoy this week. So hopefully, winning money betting and winning money in DFS is going to get the job done for you. Gross week. We figured out who to play, and let's get paid, baby.